Hi everybody, today is going to be a great day. I know that sounds like it's my opinion. That's because it is. So let's get right into it. So what is toxic masculinity? Toxic masculinity is when you bury your own insecurities and your self-doubt. It leads to a pattern of behavior that I call macho man, as well as it leads to a feeling of self-loathing. For example, when you were a child, if you liked comic books were what grounded you in the world, and they brought you joy. But as an adult, it makes you infantile or weak. Abandoning those comic books makes you strong. So, from there, what can we do? Well, we're going to talk about it. So, I have 5 questions for you. They are: when was the last time you were asked to cut corners? 2. Did you complete the task and follow orders? 3. Was there a different way to do the task? 4. What were the risks? And 5. Did you end up with an injury? I know that was a lot of questions. I do believe that they are important to ask. The questions define toxic masculinity. Before you angrily type in the keyboards down below, let me give you the reasons why with a simple story. Back in 2021, I was dating my current boyfriend at the time, and I gave up a lot of who I was in order to support him. I followed through with a lot of things that went against what I believed. Approaching Christmas, I got an opportunity to meet his parents around end of November, so Thanksgiving time frame. And he wasn't out to his family, nor did he want to come out. And I believe that is a personal conversation for whoever is having that conversation, right? And so, long story short, I ended up deciding to make him a desk for Christmas. He had wanted a new desk. He was using an old kitchen table that was falling apart, and I wanted this to be nice. Something that he could have for a lifetime. And so I went out, bought some wood, and built him a gorgeous table. Basically, as I completed this, I started feeling really good about this, that this was going to fix our relationship. He would be able to see who he was and how great of a person he is. It didn't play out that way. On Christmas Day and the day prior, he wouldn't come around my family at all. I was devastated. He didn't want to be around anything. He didn't want to have anything to do with me or my family. But he did want to spend time with me, however. And on Christmas Day, I took him the Christmas present. As soon as I arrive, the first words out of his mouth are, "This is nice, but you could have bought me something that was just as nice and spent more time with me." Not to say that was valid, but that was like a hammer to the face. The reason why I use that as an example of toxic masculinity is because that showcases not just a destructive relationship, but the relationship that you have between you, your employer, your family, and your loved ones. Toxic masculinity may impact the workplace and perpetuate certain patterns of behavior in workplace culture, but the big thing is it always starts from the home. Last time I checked, we do not live to work, we work to live. We want that life provided for us with the wages that we earn. And so with all of that being said, this applies to the workplace because when you cut corners, you're being asked to conform to something you otherwise would not. When you complete that task, did you feel proud of yourself or did you feel shame? Did you think that there was a better way to solve that problem or complete that task? Did you get injured doing that task? Did you get traumatized from how risky that task was? Did you feel like you could have done that better? Did you bottle up all of that shame, fear, and guilt and embarrassment of being afraid by showing others, look at my new scar, look at what happened, and look at how I survived? That is stupid. When you go home every day, people want you to go home in one piece. The reason why I've shared all of these stories with you is because they are relevant to the workplace. When you go to work, you spend more time every day with the people on that job site, with the people in that office, and the people in that shared cubicle than you do your own family. What does that look like on your day-to-day? It can breed two things. It could breed anxiety to an absurd level, or a lot of self-loathing and hatred. But let's change that, shall we? I want to talk about one final thing here in closing. Has anyone ever heard of the true self, false self paradigm? The false self is, I am what others expect of me and approve of me to be. That makes me valuable, especially to others, because I like them and I need to please them. And therefore I hide what I really could be, think, and feel. I acknowledge my freedom and my value, that which is given to me. I am not free to be me, therefore I am. In contrary, this is the true self. I take the risk to be who I am on my terms, despite what others think of me, which makes me worthy to myself, and discloses to me and others what I truly think and feel, which makes me valuable to myself and others. Because of my freedom and integrity, so I take the risk to be who I am. Compare the two ideologies. In the workplace, we tend to bottle up our emotions because that policy that company has restricts who we are, so we must do that in order to remain employed. Now, the question becomes, do you have the integrity to be able to take a step back and look at what that company is asking of you, looking at those standards, and if you agree with them, would you work for them? If you disagree with them, would you work for them? My opinion is that if you do not read an employee handbook for any employer, whether they're a union, non-union, contractor, whoever, if you do not read that handbook, you push all of that responsibility from you, the employee, to management and people above you. When that happens, it leads to a place where you do not have enough knowledge on the handbook to defend yourself when you get accused of doing something against it. My thoughts are, in closing, quite simple. When you have enough integrity to stand up for who you are and be kind and respectful, but push back enough to show that you are strong, you will break that toxic masculinity barrier and you will change the culture of the workplace. You will be the person that others want to be around. People will go and seek your opinion ahead of management. Why? Because you listen. You understand their needs, and you're taking the risk and the ownership and the responsibility. Because if that individual's plan fails, that falls back on you, just another worker. But when it works well, it builds you both up. Would you rather be the person who goes to work angry and bitter, or would you rather be the person that goes to work happy, successful, and ready to take on the day? Even if you end up on the chopping block and you do no longer work for that company, in the long term, you will be happier that you no longer work there. Why? Because you are able to see who you really are, and that's all that matters. This video was a little bit of a tough one to make, and I am grateful for everyone who's been following me through this journey. We are keeping up the great viewership. Right now we're at about 1,100 views. I couldn't do it without you guys. And until next time, this has been my Coffee Corner, and I'll catch you on the next one.